Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Have you ever found yourself at the end of a long day, wondering, where did all my time go? Or felt that no matter how hard you work, something always seems to be missing? The feeling so many of us share, the struggle to balance the demands of work with the joys of life. In our pursuit of success, we often overlook one critical truth. Balance isn't about giving equal time to everything. It's about giving the right time to the things that matter most. As Simon Sinek says, fulfillment comes when we live our lives on purpose. Today, we're going to explore how to identify what truly matters, how to prioritize without guilt, and how to create a life where work and personal fulfillment coexist harmoniously. Let's uncover the principles that will help us achieve not just success at work, but success in life. Here's a 700-word expansion of your first keynote. Balance isn't about dividing your time equally. It's about aligning your time with your priorities.
No.
This concept challenges the traditional notion that achieving balance means giving equal attention to all aspects of our lives. In reality, life doesn't operate in neat, equal portions. Instead, it's a dynamic interplay of shifting priorities, responsibilities, and values. The key to achieving balance lies in understanding what matters most to us and intentionally dedicating our time and energy to those areas. Imagine a scale with two sides. Balance doesn't mean placing an identical weight on each side, but rather distributing weight in a way that keeps the scale steady. Similarly, in life, we must recognize that some areas require more attention than others at certain times. For instance, there may be moments when work demands more focus, such as during a critical project or a career transition. At other times, personal relationships, health, or self-care may take precedence. The challenge is not to strive for perfection in dividing time, but to make intentional choices that reflect our core values. Achieving alignment with our priorities begins with clarity. We must first identify what truly matters to us. This requires introspection and an honest assessment of our lives. What are the values that define us? What brings us the greatest joy and satisfaction? What are the non-negotiables in our lives? These questions help us uncover the foundation of our priorities. For some, it might be family and relationships. For others, it might be personal growth, creative pursuits, or contributing to a meaningful cause. Once we understand our priorities, we can begin to align our time with them. This alignment isn't always easy. The modern world is filled with distractions and competing demands that can pull us in different directions. The pressure to excel in multiple areas can lead to feelings of guilt or inadequacy when we inevitably fall short. It's important to remember that balance is a fluid state, not a fixed destination. It requires ongoing adjustments and flexibility. There will be times when we must say no to certain opportunities or obligations in order to say yes to what truly matters. Time is our most precious resource. Unlike money or material possessions, it cannot be replenished or recovered once spent. Therefore, how we choose to use our time is one of the most significant decisions we make on a daily basis. Aligning our time with our priorities means being intentional about how we allocate this finite resource. It involves setting boundaries, managing our commitments, and being mindful of how we spend our days. One of the key strategies for aligning time with priorities is the practice of setting clear goals. Goals provide direction and focus, helping us stay on track and avoid getting sidetracked by less important tasks. When setting goals, it's important to ensure they are aligned with our values and long-term vision. For example, if maintaining strong relationships is a top priority, we might set a goal to spend quality time with loved ones each week. If personal health is a priority, we might commit to regular exercise and a balanced diet. Another strategy is the practice of mindfulness. By being present in the moment and fully engaged in what we are doing, we can make the most of our time and derive greater satisfaction from our experiences. Mindfulness also helps us recognize when we are deviating from our priorities and enables us to make conscious choices to realign ourselves. For instance, if we notice that we are spending excessive time on work at the expense of our personal well-being, we can take steps to restore balance by adjusting our schedule or delegating tasks. It's also essential to recognize that aligning time with priorities often requires letting go of certain expectations or societal norms. The idea of having it all is a myth that can lead to unnecessary stress and burnout. Instead of striving to do everything, we can focus on doing the things that truly matter to us. This might mean redefining success on our own terms and being willing to make trade-offs. For example, choosing to work fewer hours in order to spend more time with family might mean sacrificing some career advancement opportunities, but it can lead to greater overall fulfillment. The journey to aligning time with priorities is deeply personal and unique to each individual. It requires self-awareness, courage, and a willingness to make difficult choices. However, the rewards of living in alignment with our priorities are immeasurable. When we dedicate our time to what truly matters, we experience a sense of purpose and fulfillment that transcends the busyness and chaos of daily life. Let me know if you'd like to refine or add specific aspects to this expansion. True fulfillment comes when work supports your life, not when life revolves around your work. This statement is both a guiding principle and a profound truth about how we should approach the integration of work and life. Work is an integral part of life for most of us, and it serves many purposes. It provides financial stability, offers a sense of accomplishment, and often helps define our identities. However, when work begins to overshadow every other aspect of life, the balance is lost and fulfillment becomes elusive. The notion of work supporting life challenges the traditional mindset that places career achievements at the center of our existence. For decades, society has glamorized the hustle culture, where long hours and constant productivity are seen as badges of honor. We are conditioned to believe that success is measured by titles, salaries, and the size of our professional accomplishments. This mindset, while motivating in some ways, can create a dangerous imbalance where work becomes the sole focus, leaving little room for personal relationships, health, and self-discovery. To understand what it means for work to support life, we must first examine the purpose of work itself. At its core, work is a means to an end. It allows us to provide for our needs and pursue the things that bring us joy and meaning. However, when the means becomes the end, we lose sight of why we are working in the first place. A fulfilling life is one where work enables us to live fully, rather than one where life is sacrificed at the altar of work. Achieving this shift in perspective begins with a clear understanding of our values and priorities. Fulfillment is deeply personal, and it looks different for everyone. For some, it might mean having the flexibility to spend time with family, travel, or pursue hobbies. For others, it might mean using work as a platform to make a meaningful impact on the world. Whatever the case, the key is to align our work with our broader life goals rather than letting it dominate every waking moment. One way to ensure that work supports life is to establish boundaries. In today's digital age, where technology keeps us connected 24/7, the lines between work and personal life have become increasingly blurred. Emails, messages, and deadlines often follow us home, intruding on our personal time and mental space. To combat this, we must create intentional boundaries that protect our non-work time. This could mean setting specific work hours, turning off notifications after a certain time, or designating no work zones in our homes. These boundaries help us reclaim our time and energy for the things that truly matter. Another crucial aspect of letting work support life is recognizing the importance of rest and rejuvenation. Rest is not a luxury. It is a necessity for both physical and mental well-being. Yet, in the pursuit of success, rest is often seen as unproductive or indulgent. This couldn't be further from the truth. Rest is the foundation upon which productivity and creativity are built. When we take time to recharge, we return to work with renewed focus and energy, allowing us to perform at our best. More importantly, rest allows us to enjoy life outside of work, deepening our connections with loved ones and ourselves. The culture of overwork and burnout often stems from a fear of falling behind or being perceived as less committed. However, research has shown that overworking doesn't necessarily lead to greater success. In fact, it can have the opposite effect, leading to diminished productivity, creativity, and overall satisfaction. By embracing the idea that work should support life, we free ourselves from the pressure to constantly prove our worth through long hours and relentless effort. Instead, we can focus on working smarter, not harder, and finding ways to maximize efficiency without compromising our well-being. Work that supports life also means finding meaning and purpose in what we do. When we feel a sense of purpose in our work, it becomes a source of fulfillment rather than a drain on our energy. Purpose doesn't always have to come from grand or world-changing endeavors. It can be found in small, everyday actions that align with our values. For example, a teacher may find purpose in helping students grow and learn, while an entrepreneur may find purpose in creating products that solve problems for others.